defend myself in the game. All right, here we go. Okay, back to the. Sorry, wait. Yeah, you can't even see what I just did. Hold on, let me switch. So you, oh my god, you can't see anything at all. It's, oh, there it goes. Okay, so I just got attacked. Hold on. All right. Hey, I just realized I don't really make a good seal. I can feel the air and hear the air like dragging in the back when I was doing that. I don't necessarily have the proper piping, I guess. Like I have a poem in which I say my uvulus fused to the back of my throat. I'm not lying. So like it's not quite the same for me. Like now my ears are all plugged up from that. And yeah, those guys down there, I was down on the ground and those drowned came up from the ocean or from the pond to kill me. So yeah, I apologize for like my messed up intro. Hey, good morning! Welcome to yet another amazing episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. It is I, your host, Pogokiro. Hey, that was kind of weird. That was like a different kind of entrance, different kind of intro. Hey, that was pretty neat. So where am I? Lol. Um, I am sitting at the what is this? Southern, south, southwestern corner of the pond. Well, it's actually two ponds. It's separated by a little tiny sliver of land, which separates the two ponds. That pond over there is the pond we all know and well. It's been developed, and in fact, it's been developed, and I've went underwater and placed lanterns, so I could stop spawns of zombies that would come in to kill me later on. But on this side, now we're on this side. It didn't, this is the tree farm, and now we're further along. I furthered the path along to this end, and I've put down the footprint of my next project, which is well, it's a design by Silent Whisperer. It's gonna be a bone meal farm because I need bone meal to feed the tree farm. So that's pretty cool. And plus, the bone meal can also be used to feed feed the dye farm. And then I realized I've like ignored agriculture. I don't have any agriculture product anymore. But now that I'm gonna have a bone meal factory, why use up this gigantic footprint of land to create agriculture? I can create bone meal powered mini farms and just create agriculture on demand. So I think I'm gonna do that and then convert. Well, I don't know about converting, guys. Maybe finding some other place to create a farmer's market. Um, yeah, maybe I can move it along the path. I don't know, because there's not really agriculture here, man. I don't have any like arable land. I don't have a whole lot of land for agriculture. It just doesn't happen. Agriculture is hard to do here, and like ranching's hard to do. Anything with animals, there's just no space. Like it took me forever to make this space. It's not just like I didn't just walk up and be like, "Hey, there's a footprint here." I had to like, it was more like, "Hey, I'm gonna walk into the darkness. Like I'm gonna walk into the darkness, fight some trees, fight some monsters, decide this place is good enough, light up the area all around it, uh, tear down a huge chunk of land. Like, oh my gosh, it took forever. It wasn't just, you know, like I've been developing the land bit by bit. So I have like a light path of like along the trail more. So eventually I'm gonna extend the trail. But the valley here, this is the valley. Da da da. The valley descend into the valley. But okay. and this is going to be the next expansion. This is where I'm going next, and it's made north-south, which is going to make placing the rails not fun, but I had to do it. I was thinking about doing it facing this way, but then it blocks the entrance of the valley, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep this valley. I'm going to kill this tree here. Do it right now. And yeah, and then I'm going to make the path go outward. So it's, that's the neat thing about Minecraft. It just adds, you just like add bit by bit by bit. If you stick with something, if you like other games, other games, you might play a little bit, like you might see the content, and then you might do stuff, but eventually it's going to reset. Eventually something's going to reset about it. Either you'll beat the game and then you can replay it with your already powered up guy, or your guy just stays powered up and your guy progresses. But the world always resets. And in Minecraft, it's kind of like they take that mechanic out of the world resetting, so that what you do stays. It's kind of neat. There is no resetting. Hold on, I'm gonna like blow my nose here. Let's see. Hold on. Does this work? This mute? Alrighty then. Now that I've removed a large wad of snot from my nasal cavity, my voice sounds a little bit different now. Oh geez. Yeah, I've got messed up sinuses. Despite the pleasant appearance on the outside, stuff on the inside is wired crazy. It's not wired like normal people, or I shouldn't say normal, like typical people. I'm not wired on the inside like typical people. Like physiologically, not just like metaphorically speaking. No, I mean like literally. Okay, but that's cool, right? That makes me unique in my own way, and that gives me added value. Yesterday, I told myself the worst thing ever. I was walking along just working like rah rah rah, and I was realizing that I was cooking food with a lot of cheese, well, with a slice of cheese. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting to that age where I have to worry about cholesterol and shit like that, and like heart disease and rah rah rah. And then I said out loud to myself, "You got no kids, you got no wife. No one depends on you. Like it doesn't matter if you die." And then I got real sad. I was like, "Oh shit." And then I was like, "Wait a minute." I sat with that for a while. That sucked. And then I sat with that for a long time. And then I was like, you know what? At the very, 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 very least, all these individual cells in me depend on me to keep this ship going. Like, I might be the consciousness hanging out here, but it's all these things down here that keep this ship going for me to drive. Like, if the captain of the ship says this ship sucks, like this ship is shit, like, what are the sailors supposed to do? Who are working their ass off to keep the ship going. So, yeah, you got to keep the captain and the sailors like congruent. So, like, like, it does matter, like, significantly to all the people riding on this ship that this ship keep going. Like, I shouldn't say these bad things because it sends bad signals to the sailors who are working their asses off to keep this ship tip top and keep it running. Like that's a fucked up thing for the captain to say to the sailors. Ah. So I had a bad experience the other day. Um, let me share. Happy Sunday. Let me share it with you. Like to hear it? Here it goes. Well, it started on Monday, like most things do. And I'm sitting here like busting through, like I'm at work, and I'm sitting here busting through all this work stuff, and it dawns on me about this horrible dynamic that we have in the United States, whereby you say to the government, "Hey, dude, I can't work full time. I can't do it. I'm physically and mentally incapable of doing full time labor. You gotta give me a break. Give me a break." And the U.S. in the United States is so effed up, so fucked up. It's so fucked up that it takes forever for that break to come. If you get it, you gotta jump through stupid amounts of hoops. So, so you're like as it is as an American, you're like you pride yourself on working. Like that's all you know. So you're trying to keep it together. Like you're gonna borrow from your friends, whatever. You're gonna try to work odd jobs. You're just gonna sleep where you can. But eventually, you're starting to get worn down because like humans are ought to do when they're not able to recover. And now you're homeless with a chronic disease, and like you don't necessarily have a great record of medical treatment because you know you don't have health insurance. You've been working these crap jobs that don't give you health insurance, or if they do, you can't really afford it, or it's not really health insurance because the copay is ridiculous. I mean, like literally, I'm not just like speaking like filler words saying ridiculous. It's literally ridiculous that the amount of money that Americans have to pay up front just for healthcare. It's literally ridiculous. I'm not saying a filler word. It's ridiculous. It's immoral. So they don't have a great record of treatment. So the government says, okay, person who says they're not able to work at all, tell me where you live so I can send you these forms and shit. And the person's homeless. So at best, like there may be there may be got a nice friend or somebody who will let them use their address, but probably not. If they're going to be independent, like Americans are taught to be independent, they're going to have a PO box, which means they don't really have a physical address. It doesn't matter where they are; it's where their mail goes. So they have a PO box. So, well, what do you do? Like, so Social Security is like, great, we're going to send you stuff eventually. So you're a homeless person. Like you don't have a home, but you have a PO box. So and you gotta, and you don't know when that stuff is coming. You don't know when, and the government can't tell you because they don't know either. so so you're hanging around like downtown, I guess, because like you got to be close to the post office to check your post office box, but you don't live there, so you're homeless. So you got to like what stay on the streets or whatever, but you can't leave town because you got to be close to. You can't like if you don't have a car, you're so poor you don't even have a house to live in. Why would you have wheels? Why would you have the luxury of a car? Like so, like, but the city pushes you out. The city said you can't live here in the city. If you're homeless, you can't camp on the street. You have to leave. So now you're pushed out. The city pushes you out to the wilderness on the outskirts. Great. Now it's real hard to check your mail. So eventually, maybe 1, 2, 3 months, I don't know, but eventually Social Security, the people are saying, all right, great, we're ready. Time for you to prove that you're not able to work. Here's this appointment that you got to go to. Please let us know that you're going to go. And we call you. Social Security will call you, but you're homeless. You're like, and the city pushed you out of the city, so you don't have reception on your phone. And you can't really pay the bill to keep a phone up. You need Wi-Fi to keep it up. But you're pushed out of the city, so there's no Wi-Fi nearby. Do you start to see the picture? Okay, so there's no Wi-Fi, so they can't call you. So Social Security is saying, oh, we can't call you. We can't get in touch with you. We're just going to send you mail. But the city pushed you out of the city, so you can't check your P.O. box. So we might have sent you stuff, but you can maybe get into town once, maybe twice a week before the city pushes you out, or it's just hard to do it because you need a ride. Who's going to give a smelly homeless person a ride into town? Then you say, fucking take the bus. What bus? Dude, you're pushed out in the wilderness. You got to hike. Oh, wait, on top of it, remember, you can't work full time because you have a chronic illness. And now you're camping out in the wilderness. You want me to hike to a fucking bus stop to take a bus into town every day to check a mailbox for 3 months, hoping that something comes in so I can schedule my appointment 2-3 months further down the line where I have to go to another city? And I'm already camping out. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All these hoops are called administrative burdens. Things the state puts on the people who need the help. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. If the goal is to help people, the exact opposite of helping people is to put more work on them. The first thing you do is you help people. That's the first thing you do. If someone needs help, you help them. I mean, what? You figure all that shit out after, on the back end. You figure it out on the back end. Well, how much help did they really need? You figure that out on the back end. How? Through taxes or something, dude. There's other ways of doing it. Through taxes, because if you have a lot of money, you're going to be in society, and if you're in society, it's easy to see where your wealth is because there's nowhere else to put it. Wealth doesn't exist independent of society. Fucked up. It's fucked up what we do here. See what I mean? This guy is a fucking enemy that would kill me. If I was AFK, he would kill me with this thing. Watch. Even with my badass armor, eventually he would kill me if I were AFK. In my own home. In my own house. How does this happen? I'm in my own house. If I can't AFK in my own house without dying, then my house is not safe. My house is fucked up. If I can't AFK in my own house without dying, my house is fucked up. And I see where it's coming from. I see where it's coming from. I know exactly where it's coming from. All I have to do is fix it. Let me tell you about this other bad experience. That was Monday. I don't go outside very much anymore. I used to. I used to be a real outgoing, friendly guy. I'd go talk to fucking everybody. I would go outside. Like I came from the idea, from the culture that marijuana. Uh, of like sharing that it was a culture, and it's a way of linking up to people. It was a way, cannabis. It was a way of linking up with people. It was like, I guess smokers have the same thing. Like tobacco smokers have their culture, right? Well, cannabis smokers have their culture, and I wasn't into drinking. I'm not in, and I wasn't into smoking, right? So smoking tobacco. So I had my own little deal going, and I loved to go around sharing it because it was like a way of meeting new people, and around the world, it was a great way of meeting new people. It was a way to connect with everybody. I'm telling you, it was a way of it's international. It's a way of going. It's international way of connecting with people. International. It transcends boundaries. So why did I even start talking about that? Okay, yeah. So I would go out and talk to everybody, but something happened real bad. Something I never thought ever possible. Something happened that I never like. It seemed like unreal when it happened. And that was, I discovered that Russia managed to place an asset into the highest level of the US government. And people in the government knew about it and sent out signals about it, and they were ignored by the 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 opposition political party. In fact, they were covered up by the political party, so that Russia put a guy into position, and one of the parties knew about it and covered it up. And when I realized this was like 2-3 weeks after Donald Trump became president. I literally had a panic attack. I had a panic attack. And I had it in front of this guy named Ken, who's deaf. He's my neighbor. He's a great guy. Don't get me wrong, right? He's a great guy. He's like he exemplary he reads, he studies, and he tries, and he tries to exemplify what he studies. And what he studies is good. So, he's a good guy. However, we have limitations in that one channel of communication for him, namely hearing, is inaccessible. Just like me, how I have a congenital fusion of my uvula to the back of my throat, amongst other things, plus all this hardware, all this wiring in the back that you can't see. It's all internal, that you guys can't see, is all fucking different than what you guys got. He too has his own little deal going on, right? In that he can't hear. He's unable to get that wavelength. He can get the visual wavelength, but not the audio wavelength. And he can get it through a machine, but the machine is a very bad substitute. And it often, and the problem with the machine, the hearing aid, is that I can say something, but the machine will be very bad at translating it, and so but he doesn't want to break the communication, so he'll just smile and nod. And but the idea he gets is different than the idea I put out. So that the picture that we have, our communion, is no longer in sync. Now it's diverging. And that creates dissonance. But so in 2016, I had this panic attack, and I told him my revelation that Donald Trump was a Russian asset, and that it was like a coup, and by a foreign government. I was losing my shit. And he told me to calm down, calm down. He's like, gotta wait till the people figure it out and and understand it. Like, if you run around telling the people this, no one's gonna believe you. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I'm like when enough evidence comes out, people will understand, and it'll be cool. It'll be great. That was 2016, right? 2016. And in this time, he back then he was like, I don't know. And me too. Both of us, we were like independent. Both of us, we were independent thinkers. We were like, you know what? I'm for sure not for the Republicans, for sure. But I have a lot of Republican friends because I lived in northern Nevada. And and I was like an independent, right? Because those Democrats, you can't trust those Democrats because they're for the corporate people. They're like, Bernie Sanders is cool, but he's independent. so, but the independent I had in mind was the Bernie Sanders independent, not the libertarian independent. Like, I understood them, and I had a lot of libertarian friends because that's the kind of Republicans that are in northern Nevada. Or were back in the day, pre-2016. It was libertarian Republicans. So he and I we shared this idea that, like, you can't trust either of the political parties, and that maybe third party was the way. And, like, I didn't know. Not that I was not going to vote for Donald Trump, but I was not sure about Hillary Clinton. Like, I didn't pay close enough attention to anything to really to any government stuff. I didn't know really anything about government before Donald Trump. I kind of knew, but not to the level that I learned after Donald Trump. Donald Trump forced me to learn a lot of stuff. But I wasn't gonna vote for Donald Trump, but I didn't know about Hillary Clinton. And then Comey, right before the election, Comey came out and said, like, oh, we're reopening the investigation. I didn't really understand what was going on, but I was like, oh, if the FBI says it, I guess I can't really trust Hillary Clinton. I'm gonna go with my gut and vote for Jill Stein, right? Green Party, yay, environmentalism. All right, leftist, like way more leftist than those corporate Dems. Me, 2016, right? Pre all this stuff. Then Trump stole the election. Then everyone finds out, and then there's the Mueller investigation, and I'm watching it super closely, and I realize it. And now I'm protesting in the summers, holding a sign saying Trump is a traitor. He betrayed us to Russia. All this information comes out about how Donald Trump and Paul Manafort and Roger Stone worked all together with WikiLeaks to release information at the right time and to withhold other damaging information to the Republicans, and how that's all tied together with the Russian government. Like, all that came out, all this came out, and how they all worked really hard to disparage Hillary Clinton and to promote third-party candidates, not because they believed in it, but just to, like, break the system. I'm like, wow, all this stuff is coming out, and I'm like learning this stuff, going, wow, that's amazing. And, like, then I see, like, the two impeachments that I watched. I watched Donald Trump I watched Donald Trump betray the Kurds in Syria. I watched Donald Trump and Iraq. I watched the Donald Trump betray Zelensky and betray Ukraine. I watch all this happen. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awful. I watched Donald Trump stage a literal insurrection on January 6th, a coup attempt to violently overthrow our election. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now it's 2022. And I'm afraid I've had lots of experiences in between of me protesting and I've seen lots of stuff. Now it's 2022, like full circle, and I'm like, wow, it's time to go back outside again and like try like intermingling with the neighbors again. And there's my friend again, right? So we go out there, and I understand that he cannot understand what I'm saying. So I'm mainly just being polite and listening, right? Just being polite and listening, because you know whatever. Like, so it's one way. It's a broadcast. He's broadcasting to me. I see my neighbor, and I go and I just am being polite, and I'm letting him broadcast to me. What does he broadcast in 2022? Right? This is not 2016 anymore. This is 2022. What is he broadcasting to me? The first thing we start talking about, he tells me about. The first thing he tells me about is that how many he's gone to Russia 4 or 5 times, like in the 90s and the early aughts. And the gist of his story is that, and he centers it around McDonald's. He says that in the beginning there was one McDonald's and all the Russians wanted to go to it, and it was really great, and it was super expensive. The next time there are a little more McDonald's, shorter line. And then next time a lot more McDonald's and like no lines. And then by the time he went, last time he went, there were McDonald's everywhere, and everyone and all the Russians hated McDonald's. And then he said the Russians wanted to make their own version of McDonald's instead. And then he started repeating Putin propaganda to me, what Putin says. And then because then he started saying that NATO was the reason why Russia had to invade Ukraine. NATO is the one that forced Ukraine, or NATO is the reason that Putin invaded Ukraine. But I can't rebut his statements because he can't hear me. We can't have a conversation. It's him broadcasting to me. So I'm basically just looking into his head. He's basically just showing me his brain. So he tells me this. He tells me that Putin was forced to invade Ukraine because of the constant expansion of NATO. And then he tells me that Putin was forced to invade Ukraine because NATO is belligerent and placed armies and nukes really, really, really close to Russia, so that Russia felt threatened. So he's telling me these things. I can't rebut them, and what he's telling me is the things that Putin is saying. All of it. That's all what Putin's saying. He's telling me exactly what Putin's saying. Then he starts talking about like how Biden is doing the war very badly, or like how Biden is responsible and a poor leader, and how Biden's weak. I'm like, and then, what was it? He starts to like talk bad about Dems. Basically, he doesn't say anything bad about Republicans, but he starts saying about how Dems are basically corrupt. Like, the gist of it is Dems are corrupt. That's it. Okay, and that Biden is weak. Then he starts going into Julian Assange, about how Julian Assange is innocent, how he's being unfairly persecuted by the U.S., that he's just a journalist. And like I'm like, do you realize that Russia tried to extradite Julian Assange and take him back to Russia because he's a Russian asset? Do you understand this? Mother wrote this whole report about how WikiLeaks coordinated with the Trump campaign and Russia to release information damaging to Hillary Clinton. And they timed it for maximum effectiveness. And they also were in possession, WikiLeaks was in possession of stolen Russian information, but WikiLeaks chose not to release that because it would be damaging to the Republicans and help Hillary Clinton. Oh, because WikiLeaks is not a neutral publishing platform. it works in conjunction with the Russian government. The Russian government hacks into U.S. servers to steal information. But the Russian government can't just steal information and then go, hey, everyone, look what we got. We stole this information. Because everyone would look at the Russian government and go, dude, you guys are hackers. And then you couldn't use the information because everyone knows it came from Russian hackers. So they have to launder it. So how do they launder that information? Well, there's this place called WikiLeaks that purports to be independent. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. They're not independent. They're just like Donald Trump is just a businessman selling condos. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No, he's not. He's a money launderer. He uses those condos to launder money for the mob. The same way that WikiLeaks uses, or Julian Assange uses WikiLeaks to launder dirty information for the Russian military. It's the same thing. It's the same idea. It's the same concept. So the Russian government stole this information, and then they can't publish it themselves because everyone would point to the Russian government. So they give it anonymously, quote, quote, to WikiLeaks under Guccifer 2.0. And they give it to WikiLeaks, who then publishes all that information. But not all that information, only the information damaging to Hillary Clinton and the Democrats. And they time it to blunt bad information about Donald Trump. The Access Hollywood tape that should have killed Donald Trump's presidential campaign. But right after that, the Russians like, boom, release it. Here it is. And then they timed it, and Roger Stone, I don't think the Russians timed it. Donald Trump timed it. But he asked the Russians on TV to help him. And then they did. Oh my God. Don't you guys get it? So all of this happened. All of this stuff happened. And we're in 2022. And I go outside and I'm talking to my neighbor. And he tells me that Julian Assange is innocent. And then I start saying, well, then if you can't trust the Democrats and you can't trust the Republicans, what do you do? And he says, well, the American experiment is over. He's like, you should vote for third party. I'm going to vote for Green Party. He told me this. He's like, I'm going to vote for Green Party. Oh, who did that? Bats. Oh, I have a bed here. And then he starts talking about conspiracy theories with Hillary Clinton. 2022. In 2022, Hillary Clinton hasn't been in government for how long? Like 6 years? And he's still talking about Hillary Clinton? Okay, so at this point, I've listened to this guy talk for 3 hours, or not for 3 hours, for 30 minutes. It felt like 3 hours. For like 30 minutes, I've listened to him tell his right-wing conspiracies. I can't rebut his statements because he can't hear me. And if he does hear me, he pretends to hear me but doesn't really understand. So we're not really communicating. He's just broadcasting bad information to me. And it's like the first time, 2016, I forgive myself. I forgive everyone. We got tricked by the Russian government. It was a big campaign. But when you know better, do better. And so I went out and learned. I educated myself. And when they came back around again, I was ready. And I'm like, no, I got you this time. But him, he didn't learn. He didn't learn. He's doing exactly the same thing he did in 2016. He's playing right into the Russian playbook. Exactly the same thing. It's like he never looked at anything other than his own ideas. And then he broadcasts them. And I can't rebut them because I can't talk to him. and he stopped Facebook. So you can't type to him. You can't type to him. You can't talk to him. You can't do anything. I don't know sign language. So maybe that's my fault because I don't know sign language. So I can't sign to him. I can't do anything. All I can do, if I interact with him, the only thing I can do is endure propaganda, right-wing propaganda. You know what that feels like? It feels like that the zombie movie when your neighbor, super cool guy, awesome guy, he's great, but when you get mobbed by zombies, he's the guy who gets bit, and he tries to fight it off, right? He's trying to be a good guy. He's reading his book. He's trying to do the right thing, but he got bit. And in 2022, he's telling me about Hillary Clinton conspiracies and why Putin was justified. I'm sorry if I exploded and I acted inappropriately and if I used a loud voice. I apologize. I realize I might have scared you. Your big dog right next to you wasn't concerned at all because he sensed that I had no ill will towards you, that I had no violent intentions towards you. Your big ass dog right fucking next to you did nothing. Because I obviously did not have bad vibes towards you. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to do anything. I'm not at all violent. Come on, guy. Your big ass dog right next to you did nothing. It's because I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to communicate with you. And you just gave to me all this stuff. Now, here, I saw something that was the best meme, and I thank you, artist guy. I gotta buy something from you one day. I need to buy a house so I can start collecting art. Check this out. I don't know who said this, but quote, I was thinking of the free exchange of ideas last night. It's not like a market. It's more like a potluck. Everyone brings their own ideas and you sample others, and some are familiar with a twist and some are interesting but not to your taste. Some are bad, some are life-changing. You can get into a discussion about recipes or techniques or what have you as people talk about the food. But if someone brings mashed potatoes, you can debate the appropriateness for potluck. Is it too bland? Mashed potatoes? Will it get cold on the table? Do potatoes make up too much of our diet, all of those starches? But if someone puts a steaming pile of dog shit on the table, we're not going to debate it. And when we tell them to, get it off the table, it's not because we're afraid of eating their dog shit or we think that it's going to revolutionize lunch. But, we don't want that to happen. No, we tell them to take it off the table because there's no debate to be had. It's dog shit. It's not an open discussion. It's not a matter of palates or picky eaters. That's why we don't engage with neo-Nazis and white supremacists. And it's why we don't or shouldn't let them come to the potluck, because the ideas they bring are shit. They're not worth discussing. They're not worth the platform. They're not worth repeating. Like I can get into a debate with an anarchist, because we're discussing ideas, but we agree upon human rights. We agree upon human rights. I can't get into a discussion with a Nazi because Nazis don't care about human rights. I can get into a discussion with an anarchist because an anarchist has an idea of truth. I cannot get into a discussion with a Nazi because they do not believe in truth. They believe in power. If a Nazi comes to discussion, the ideas they bring are shit. They're not worth discussing. They're not worth having there. They're bad. They're unsanitary. They'll infect all the other food. They'll taint all the other things that you bring if you let the dog shit sit there. No, you get that shit out of there. It's dog shit. So, but I was unable to tell this person who can't hear me, I was unable to tell him about his misconceptions because he has closed all avenues of communication. I can't Facebook him. I can't text him. Maybe his wife I can text, but then it's not him. I don't have ill will toward the guy, but he's got some bad ideas. Some bad ideas. Here, let's get into how bad his ideas are, right? I can go through one at a time, right? So he said, he said that NATO was expanding toward Russia. That's what Putin says. Putin says that NATO is expanding toward Russia, so Russia had to react. Well, here's a chart that's color coded that tells you when each state was added to NATO. The last time anyone was added toward NATO, toward Russia, was 2004. So this is Russia, this big thing right here. That's all Russia. So 1949, 1952, boom, 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 boom. 1982, 1990, that's when the wall fell and Germany became reunified. And then 99, that's when Poland got to come along and everyone else. And I think that's Bulgaria, no, Austria. I don't know. Who's that. That's Austria. Who is that? Man, that's bad. Bulgaria? No, Bulgaria's down here. I don't know, dude. Oh, that's bad. Ukraine. Here's Ukraine. I've been looking over here. Sorry, I haven't looked over here. I've been looking over here. Okay, but like Turkey down here is not toward Russia, dude. It's down south. Greece down south. So 2004, when the Baltic states were added, was the and then when these guys were added, dude, I feel bad. I have another one, but it's written in a way I can't read it. This was the last time Russia, they were in 2004 was the last time it was expanded toward that. So it's a lie that NATO is expanding toward Russia. It's a lie. That hasn't happened since 2004. It's 2022. It's a lie. Putin's lying, and my neighbor was repeating the lie. There we go. Thank you. Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, Poland. Yeah, 2009 were these guys. So 2004 were these guys down south. And that was the last time. This is the only border they have. And this is right here. But this border has been in place since 1949. So that's the borders with Russia. NATO borders with Russia, right there. There and there, NATO borders with Russia. Since 2004. Why in 2022 is Russia invading over here if this is his issue up here? Because he's lying. That's why. He's lying, and my neighbor repeated the lie, but I couldn't refute it because he's deaf, and I don't sign, so I couldn't give it back to him. I couldn't tell him. And I became very, very frustrated. I couldn't stand the propaganda coming at me. I'm the same way with commercials. I can't stand commercials. Like, that's why I don't watch TV or listen to radio. I can't stand commercials. Like, I block all the advertisements on my internet, and that might be a security risk. You know, I'm afraid that people outside like my computer can see what I'm seeing on my computer because I use so many programs to block advertisements. On my phone, on my computer, I can't stand it, right? So if you think I go through all that trouble to block advertisements and seclude myself from these subliminal messages, you think I'm going to subject myself to straight up fucking Russian propaganda aimed directly at me? No way I'm going to react really badly because it hurts. It's because I know they're lies. I know exactly what it is. It's dog shit, and it's getting shoved in my face, and I hate it. But my arms are like this. I couldn't do anything because he's deaf. I couldn't tell him to stop. I was being polite, but he kept saying these right-wing conspiracies, and it drove me crazy. So what's the other thing that he lied about? He lied about Russia, about troop deployment. U.S. troops are vastly outnumbered by Russian troops outside of Russia's borders. So think about it. How many troops does Russia have outside of Russia, and how many troops does U.S. have outside of U.S.? We have some right here. These numbers are different now because we increased our troop number because of the Ukraine war, because Russia invaded Ukraine. But before Russia invaded Ukraine, this is what was up. Russia has a huge number of troops outside of Russia ready to attack NATO countries. And we have none. Look at none. None. We have some in Norway and some in Poland. That's it. But Russia has a bunch outside of Russia. And now it's all in Ukraine. So clearly the aggressor here is not the United States, it's Russia. But my neighbor was repeating Russian propaganda. Then he said, well, USA deployed nukes right on Russian borders. Another lie. This is a lie. That's a lie. Here are all the Russian tactical nuclear air bases. So here's Russia, right? And here's the border of Russia. Here's the border of Russia. So they got nukes and all sorts of armaments and shit right on their border. And all our nukes and shit are way back here. Way back here. Because we haven't forward deployed anything. Like, remember, there used to be nukes in Ukraine. And Ukraine said, we will give up our nukes. Ukraine said, we will give up our nukes if Russia promises never to invade us. And Russia said, okay, if you give up your nukes, Ukraine, we will never invade you. So Ukraine gave up their nukes. 20 years later, Russia's like, hey, Ukraine, you don't have any nukes. We're going to invade. Ah! My neighbor who went to Russia 4 times spewed Russian propaganda at me, a guy who's been calling out the Russian coup with Donald Trump since 2017, 2018. In public, to great physical peril and social peril. Please excuse me for my outburst. So yeah, here's what it is, right? You want to see a visual, you want to see a quick representation of what it was like? So there's my neighbor, right? He's a good guy. 2016. I understand it. I understand he's a good guy, but he is transformed into an agent of the Matrix, an agent of control, an agent of Russian propaganda. He is not in control of his physical body, of his channels, of the information that comes out of him. Who's in control? Russia, because Russian propaganda is what comes out of his body. He doesn't control his body. If he controlled his body, Russian propaganda wouldn't come out. Right? He tries to fight it. He tries to be a detective guy, right? He's just trying to be a detective guy, trying to find the truth. That's all he's trying to do. He's just trying to be smart and find the truth of what's really happening. But he doesn't really have control of his body. He doesn't really control his portal. So Russian propaganda is able to take control of his body and use his body to manifest itself. That information is reproduced inside of America onto other Americans, way outside of Russia. Putin's mouthpiece was speaking directly to my face. The American, well, he's not a Canadian. The Canadian, nice Canadian Christian guy who reads his Bible and tries to live by the Bible and does really good. He tries his best to live the life of Jesus Christ. He tries his best. He reads and he studies hard. This really, really nice guy transformed into an agent of the Matrix right before my eyes. What am I gonna do? This is true. This guy was telling me all these conspiracy theories, all these crazy right-wing conspiracy theories, repeating it over and over again. He doesn't need proof. He doesn't need specifics. He just needs the general feeling to agree with what he already feels like. If the article tells him what he already agrees, like tells him what he already believes, then he'll be like, yeah, that's got to be true because I already feel it. This is where I got it from. These are so good because you're meant to despair about the pretend dystopian future where a pretend movie character is different. It's hilarious. Like I guess the right wing is afraid that Batman is becoming too progressive. So because this is the meme that they made. They made this meme in order to like shame people. They're trying to shame people into believing that these are bad ideas. That it's not tough guy, not strong. That these things are associated with weakness. That's their humor, right? That's this is to them. This is why this is funny to right wingers, because to right wingers, Batman is supposed to exemplify violence and masculinity, and they associate inclusivity and progressive values with a feminine, like not even feminism, right? Because feminism is strong. You have strong feminists. It's not that it's emasculated. It's not just feminism. It's emasculated. They see progressivism as being emasculated. That's the problem. It's not just feminism. It's that it's emasculating to them, to their idea of what it means to be a man. So is the problem with this side, or is it with their idea? If someone else's idea can emasculate your idea, it's not their problem. Your idea sucks. If it can be emasculated by someone else's idea, then your idea sucks. If something can be destroyed by the truth, then it deserves to be destroyed by the truth. So yeah, they create this meme as a gotcha, I gotcha, trying to show that Batman's weak, dude. And they associate pink, right? They're trying to emasculate. It's not necessarily it's not just pointed at women. It's also pointed at men. They're trying to create a fear. But dude, let's be real. Who's afraid of the color pink? Men aren't afraid of the color pink. Men aren't afraid of colors. Men don't let colors define them. I don't get it. Maybe little juvenile boys are afraid of what color might be on them and what others might think of them because of the color that's associated with them. But that's because they're little boys and they don't have a real strong sense of self. Oh, okay. Back to my neighbor. My neighbor. Not only did he say that that Julian Assange was a good guy, he also said that Glenn Greenwald was a good guy. Glenn Greenwald is a good economist, but that's as far as I will go. I will not go any further. Anything else, he's dumb. Look what he did. Look what he did. Glenn Greenwald is retweeting a white supremacist. The white supremacist is a guy named Stone Toss. How do I know he's a white supremacist? Because he makes a cartoon that associates Ukraine with Nazis in order to be sympathetic to Russia. This helps Russia. Russia's Nazi. He's retweeting, and Stone Toss is Nazi. Glenn Greenwald is retweeting a Nazi, spreading Nazi propaganda. Therefore, Glenn Greenwald is a Nazi, which is why my neighbor, who's been infected by a right-wing zombie, bitten by a right-wing zombie, is repeating Glenn Greenwald because he's a Nazi, and Nazi zombies make you repeat Nazi stuff. Here's an example of the truth. 1966, Batman was super campy. 1989, then you had a little darker, 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 a little darker. Like Batman's getting more and more gritty from its original, not becoming more and more progressive. What are you talking about? But see, that's the thing. Nazis don't care about truth. Truth is never an issue for Nazis. All they care about is power. They will say anything. They will repeat any contradiction as long as it gets them power. They don't care. They have no idea. They don't even care about consistency because consistency requires truth, and they don't care about truth. So what do we got here? Okay, okay. There's a few things. Everyone's complaining about gas prices, right? So they're saying, "Oh, these gas prices," and then the Republicans, the Nazis, the fascists, what do they say? The old school way of thinking people, the extinctionists, they're extinctionists. That's how it comes down to. Burning fossil fuels, investment in fossil fuels equals death, equals extinction, global extinction. There's no other way around it. I'm not lying. I'm not hyperbolizing, exaggerating. I'm I'm speaking the truth. I'm speaking the truth. It's extinction. Fossil fuel energy is death. It's death. It's death. It's going to lead. It's what's leading. It's what's paying for war in Europe right now. Europe's dependence on fuel from Russia is what gives Russia money to wage war in Ukraine, to kill democracy. But democracy still gives money to oligarchy to get oil. Isn't that a weird contradiction? Truth will kick your ass. It doesn't fucking care. That's why we need to get off of oil. We can do it tomorrow if we start with green energy. If we give everyone solar panels, don't even buy it, just give it to them. And then we create a program whereby we train and pay workers to go out and install and maintain solar panels. You have created a massive new green jobs industry. Everybody's got a job now Construction workers for days got a job now. Now you got inventors thinking of new ways to install solar panels. Now you got inventors thinking of new ways to make solar panels. You got dudes who don't even fucking care about invention, just installing solar panels, because that's what gets them money, and it's easy, and it gets them paid. They go home, they can relax. It covers everyone, dude. The green economy will cover everyone. That's why they're afraid of it, because the green economy will cover everyone. Everyone will be covered in a green economy. And yet, democracies are paying for an oil dictator to wage war against another democracy by buying their oil. So what do Nazis here in America say? Oh, then we should drill for more oil here. No, that's death. Here, let's look. Gas producers don't care about the price of oil. Oil could be $10 a gallon. It could be $200 a gallon. They don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't depend on price. Yeah, some kind of want some amount, but not really. What matters to them is investor pressure to maintain capital discipline. In other words, make money. Make money. The number one thing that causes oil companies to drill new wells and to create new production is to make money. They don't do it unless they're going to make money. And to make money isn't necessarily dependent upon the price of oil. It has to depend upon past expenditures of capital. They have to make money on the stuff they've already drilled. So it's a bad idea to expand oil production at all. It's a bad idea to put any money into oil production because it's death. We should be switching to a green economy, and the only reason why we're not is because it will revolutionize the entire world. And the people who control the world right now don't want that to happen. They're making money right now. Why would they want things to change? And the only way we're going to change that is if we all band together, get past these colors and see who we are in terms of relationships. Because I am closer to the homeless guy camping in the woods waiting for his disability check. I'm closer to him than I am to fucking Bill Gates. Fuck Bill Gates, dude. He's an alien to me. He has no idea. He has no fucking clue. Check this out. Public agencies are more popular than government as an abstract concept. In other words, it's all government. But when you say to people government, they go, ugh. Automatically. It doesn't matter. They just go, government. Grr. Because for them, the label government is associated with bad. But all you have to do is pick out one part of government, just one part of government, and all of a sudden they're like, ding, that's awesome. Government, grrr. Clean drinking water, yeah. Government, grrr. Disability checks, yeah. Government, grrr. Medicare, yeah. Government, grrr. Food that doesn't have shit in it, yeah. So the key to breaking or getting around, you're not going to break the idea that in people's heads, it's already stuck in there. You can't get it out. You can't get it out. Look at this. You can't get it out. It's been stuck in there forever. That anytime you say government, it's bad. Grrr. You have to give it names. You have to pick out parts and give it names. Because when you say Medicare and Social Security and health standards, safety standards, like it's a lot better than saying government. All right, what else do I got? I think that's it. I can go back here. No, I got nothing here. Yeah, this one. How many homeless families does it take to make a billionaire? Like, how many of those guys out? How many people need to be out camping in the woods, missing the phone call because they don't have reception, missing the mail that we send out to them because the post office box is in the city and the city pushed them out, but they can't get a ride into the city? How many of those people do there have to be? Because remember, for all those people, all they need is a little bit of help. They don't necessarily need to be like utterly, like, I don't know, they just need help. Like, but how much does that cost us to give them that help? Because it's not just them not being able to get reception. It's the government sending out notes, waiting, sending out more notes, mass producing these files. It's making these appointments with doctors. And then because the people are homeless and they have a hard time traveling, they can't make it to the appointment, but the doctor's got to get paid. So the government pays the doctor, even if the person doesn't show up. There's waste all around. And the idea is, and the problem is, because we make everyone jump through hoops on the front end, instead of doing the thing that the agency is supposed to do, which is help people. So I think the thing is, the purpose of a system is what it does. The purpose of a system is what it does. Like, benefits are supposed to benefit people. Help people is supposed to help people. If what your system does is make people jump through a bunch of hoops, then what your system is supposed to do is make people jump through a bunch of hoops and not help them. Because that's what it makes people do. If you want it, like, the whole reason the whole point is to take it out the back end. You tax the rich. That's the whole point. You take it out the back. You tax the rich. At the end of the day, you look at who has way too much and who doesn't have enough, and you adjust. At the end of the day, you don't do it in the front. You don't ask a homeless person. You don't ask a person starving on your doorstep, like, can I see your tax returns? Can I check your medical records to see if you're really homeless? Can I check your pay stubs? You don't do that to a person begging for help. You help them. But at the end of the year, you go to the guy who made lots and 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 lots of money. You go up to that guy and go, "Hey, dude, with all that money, kick down. Kick down, dude. Kick down. Look what our society produced for you. You should kick down. You should kick down." And that's what it comes down to. See? Now we're coming to the crux of it. The war. Putin, Republicans represent the people who feel like, no, I shouldn't have to kick down. I made this billions of dollars off of all your backs. I should keep it for me. And it's rule of power. I have the power. I keep the gold. That's what Putin believes, and he's going to go to war for it. That's what Republicans believe, and they're going to go to war for it. They tried to overthrow the government because of it. That's what they believe. That's the thing. So that's the frame, that's the context in which we live today in 2022. That is the context in which we live today. You either side with the people who are authoritarians, who are Nazis, who want to establish rule of power, or you side with democracies, with people who hold truth and human rights to be above everything else. That's your choice. Okay, America. Thank you for bearing with me. Pogokino out. Peace.